Good afternoon and Jai Hind, everyone. The second session of second day of our FDP is on the importance of diversity for the professional development of the academicians. Our resource person, Mr. Daniel Weber, the managing director of Helvetia Education Group from Switzerland. He will be briefing you on about the criteria which are important for going for the faculty position and the foreign universities, as well as he'll be giving you the example of how you can use the various platforms for exploring the avenues of teaching in other countries by giving an example of his own company. He will be joining us very shortly, so I request everyone to kindly hold on to your page.
Uh, so okay, sorry, I just received a message that this was recorded. Perfect. So I think I should perhaps start with, giving you a bit of explanations as to, who I am, maybe my personal background, and how I grew up to, being a firm believer in diversity, and not only a believer, but somebody that actually, pushes that agenda a lot on a daily basis in my private life, and most certainly in my professional life, through the different ventures that I have with either Helvetia Education Group, which is, what I'm doing today, but I'm also a speaker in some smaller schools, here in Switzerland and back home.
Daniel, can you please unmute yourself? I guess I might have muted you. Can you please unmute yourself? Just a second. Unmute yourself.
But,
Yeah, you're audible, you're audible. Please carry on.
okay. So what did you hear and what did you not hear?
No, you can tell from where you were telling that, where you were a firm believer.
Right. So yes, I was about to tell you, about why I believe in diversity, personally and professionally, and why I'm, whatever I do, I'm trying to be inclusive. I'm trying to bring diversity into my business, and why we are also encouraging the different academic institutes to also promote that agenda through different initiatives, and one specific which we will cover, a bit later. So about me, I was born here in Switzerland, this beautiful country, which obviously, people know about. And I'm, to some extent, I'm a product of diversity, and at least of, two people who were, curious enough to, from my mother's side to come to Europe, and then from my father's side to actually say, oh, look at this woman, she's not from my country. I would like to talk to her. She seems interesting, and what do you know? Suddenly, I was born. What does it mean? What did it mean for me? Growing up in Switzerland, but having both cultures. Well, very immediately in my early days and early life, I knew that I was, half. This is how they say it here, But I would prefer to use the term I'm 100% Swiss and I'm 100% Chilean. Now I know mathematically that doesn't work. You cannot be 100% and 100%. But why limit yourself to saying I'm only 50% this and 50% that? So growing up, I had this beautiful opening to another country and another culture, and then that also led me to be very curious about anything. I am, by default, just as a human being, I'm very curious. I will speak to anybody, and I will speak to, about anything, because I want to learn, and because I think it's just very enjoyable to discover new people and to talk to different people. So this is about me. Regarding my academic background, as you mentioned it, and everybody probably read it as well. Um, I studied political science in Geneva. Again, because I wanted to, not because I wanted to become a diplomat, but one essential element that I was told to when I was young is try to do the things you like, not necessarily the things which you think will give you a better life later. I know it might sound a bit crazy as an idea, but why would you study or do something that doesn't make you happy, even though there's a promise for money or success or fame? So this is a bit where this, this is my mentality, if I can say so. And then professionally, I was lucky enough to, lucky enough, obviously I had also the curriculum to go with it. But so I started with Procter and Gamble, and obviously I'm sure you're very aware of it. India is a huge market for that company, and within that company, and this has accompanied me, all over my career, and still today. I always wanted to do something that I didn't know how to, because this is how you grow. This is how you learn different things, and this is how you can progress within a company. I don't think that any managers like to see an employee who just wants to stay in their comfort zone, because you can have 50,000 of them, but what you want is people who are eager to learn, and who can then bring new ideas as well. Always remember that when you learn something new, you get the idea of that new project or that new job you're working on, but then you assimilate it. And I believe that with your own cognitive process, you might actually create another idea. And there is this saying that when two people meet, actually a third idea is being generated, because you have one, I have one, and suddenly, just by us discussing and putting ideas on the table, we discover that we discover something new. And if I may just put a bit of it's a joke, it's an anecdote about Chile, which is a highly political country. The joke is that when two Chileans meet, actually three are talking about politics, which goes a bit, it links to the idea that talk to everybody, speak to everybody, because it is so much richness that can come from discussing and sharing ideas. Now, so that was Procter and Gamble, and then I did something which I will link it to faculty development and diversity. So just bear with me, because I'm trying to show you all the importance of of all these different steps. What I did after P&G was something that at a young age, I don't think a lot of people do. I bought some shares in a company, and I went there to develop it. This was the company, the second one, the ATIC, ATIC. Now again, I had never run a smaller company. I had never done promotional items, and I certainly had never done a buyout or a mergers and acquisitions transaction. But again, I wanted that because I had a firm belief that this would actually be fun, and I liked it. So I went and did it. It turned out to be a fantastic experience. I learned how to run a smaller company. I learned how to run a sales team. I also learned in a hard way that partnerships are not very easy, but again, because the other partner was very different under all aspects. He was older, he was not Swiss, and he had his own idea of doing things. So, learning how to work with another person at a very smaller scale, with nobody above you, we are the two only bosses, we are the shareholders. So that again was a fantastic experience. And then very shortly after that, Griffiths Partners came, and again, this was another whole level of learning curve. But this is what you want in your life. You want to learn more, and then subsequently, what you have learned and what you have assimilated and is now a part of you, you should give back and you should also transmit. And I think that's the whole point of being faculty, of being a teacher, of being a professor. You know, you want to transmit what you have learned. And then today, Helvetia Education Group, this came from a lengthy conversation with my current partner as well in this endeavor, that because we were not tired of doing investments and acquisitions, but we wanted to do something which had more of an impact, you know, and obviously a positive impact, and an impact which could last, you know, beyond our lifetime. And I think we can all agree in this room that education, if you want to make such an impact and a you know, timeless impact, it is the right place to be. Well, I was about to say the right business, but yes, somehow it is a business as well. But it's the right place to be from an ethics point of view, from a, you know, moralistic point of view. You know, the transmission of again, of knowledge and empowering and giving to people the proper tools to, you know, then hopefully, you know, they become better people as well, and they have the ability to share that later as well. You know, that to me, this is the whole idea behind us becoming Helvetia Education Group, creating the company, and doing what we are doing today, which is I'm here, I am talking to you, and I am talking to other schools as well. I'm trying to, you know, give my vision of what it should be. And interestingly enough, what we're developing today, which is I don't want to sell my product to you. I promise this is not about selling our product, but just to explain to you. If it comes, it comes. But what I want to tell you is that it was not the purpose of the platform at the beginning, because it was a system to help administrative burdens and processes between a school and their visiting lecturers or adjunct faculty. What we found out was that actually it was a fantastic tool to also connect schools abroad to local teachers and vice versa. And I think we had, you know, I don't think we were looking for that, nor hoping for that, but our main market today is France, and we are seeing teachers come from your country, from the UK, from South Africa, a bit everywhere. And obviously it's easy to understand why. You know, people generally want to teach in other places. I believe that, you know, same way people want to travel, they would also like to teach at other places, so that they can gather more experience about, you know, teaching abroad, and then also meeting because it's all online, but meeting with different students. And I'm sure that the questions in an Indian class are different than in a French class or a Swiss class, because of just how, you know, life is, you know, different culture, different ways of learning, different ways of assimilating information. So that for a professor or teacher, I'm sure must be, you know, super exciting and extremely refreshing. So it turns out that we are making an impact, albeit a small one for the time being, but, you know, hopefully we can, and obviously with the emergence of online learning, distance learning, you know, unfortunately it was a bit forced upon us because of the pandemic, but hopefully this will continue. Maybe not, you know, full-time online, because I think, you know, what I liked about going to university was precisely that I was going to a university, and I could hear, you know, all my five senses were basically active when I was in a class, and then we could discuss with students, and it was fun, it was live, and then we would have a cup of chai, you know, and we would still discuss what the teacher had said. So it was fantastic. So hopefully, you know, students go back to class, but perhaps we can we can do a hybrid model where 3 days in class, 2 days online, which would allow for teachers from outside of the country or even the region to come and give some classes or one lecture, two lectures. I think this would benefit everybody, the school, the teacher, and certainly, most certainly, the students, because at the end of the day, it's all, to me at least, it's all about the students. They are the ones who are and their families who are making sacrifices to pay a tuition in the hopes for a better future. So all our efforts and our raison d'être, or the leitmotif, should be whatever is good for the students. And I think this is key. Now, about diversity and because this is a faculty development program, I wanted to create some parallels between academia and other sectors where exchanges, let's call them like this, I think are much more present today, and maybe academia in general is a bit lagging behind. So I will name the categories where I have seen, and I have almost in all of them personally experienced the benefit of exchange, of moving to someplace else or learning something new. So I will just name them, and then I will just give you examples of why you should try to do that as well. Sports, education as a student, research, scientific collaboration, personal level, and then corporate. And the idea is that, for example, how do you become a better sports player? Is it by staying in your little club and facing people who are the same level as you, or not even the same level as you? No. You need to go outside of your club. You need to go meet better people, better players, so you learn from them. Otherwise, you will be stuck at the same level. That was my personal experience. I played basketball. I still play basketball. I mean, I'm trying to, with age, it becomes a bit difficult. And certainly time is not on my side these days. But we are trying to do that, always try to play somebody who's better. It doesn't matter if you lose, because you never lose, actually. You're learning something. If you're paying attention to what the other guy does, you are learning, okay, he does this move like this. He's faster, so I need to improve the way I run. I need to improve my defense. I think you understand what I mean. In Europe, we have this fantastic exchange program called Erasmus. If you've heard of it, I was lucky enough that my parents at the time would actually say, yes, you can do the Erasmus program. I mean, it is financially it's a bit heavy, because you're not living with your parents. You need to rent a place, etc. And that program allows, as the name suggests, movements between different European universities who are part of the program. And Switzerland, despite not being in the European Union and always fighting with Brussels, is part of that fantastic program. So I was very lucky that I was able to do my second year of political science in Madrid. Now, one might say, yeah, but you go to Madrid and the only thing you learn is about Spain or Madrid if you're not partying all the time. It's true, you're only in one country, but everybody else from Europe is gathering to that same place. So in one classroom, you have people from Portugal, people from France, Germany, etc., all the 15 or 22 current member states. I mean, back in the days, I think there were only 15. Then they added all the Eastern countries. But it was a fantastic experience, because obviously, you learn something. You're doing your proper, curriculum, second year of political science, but it's taught in English, which I speak English since I was very young. But for other people, it was a challenge. So they learned English, they learned political science terms in a different language. And then certainly they met other people from Europe. And that is priceless. If you can meet somebody from another culture, And it's just fantastic because, and also if you're open to and willing to learn and to hear things that maybe you would think, that sounds, strange. You do it like this? Oh, if you have that mentality of, prejudice and judging, you will not have a good time. On the other hand, if you're open-minded and you just hear people talk about their own cultures, yeah, some things, countries do differently. Well, you like it or you don't like it, but at least you know how they do it. That is personal enrichment as well. The third category is, research, scientific collaboration. That is obviously, I think it has been the case, forever. Different countries, speak to each other, and even if we go back to the times of when algebra and that was, came into Europe. It's funny how, if you look throughout history, countries have fought forever. Politics have always been fighting, but somehow, and it's very, I'm very thankful for that, and everybody should be. Scientists were always outside of the scope of wars. They would always collaborate. They would learn medicine from other people. So this is fantastic. When I keep reading about history and how science evolved, this cross fertilization of knowledge and development is just fantastic. And I think today we have seen it even more with this pandemic, how fast collaboration happens, and I think it's saving lives. The fourth one is on a personal level. Think about it. If you go to another city, if you go to another country, why do you do it? Now, some people will say because I need sun, especially European people, Swiss people. I want to see the sun, I want to see the sea. But truly, when you travel, you go because you want to learn something. You want to see a museum that you've heard of. You want to see the mountains that you've heard of or seen in some movies. So again, it's all about wanting to learn more and escaping some false sense of comfort, and discovering something new. Finally, the last one is, corporate. In many big companies, they very often offer what they call a secondment, which is you going to either another country or another headquarter or another office in the same country to learn something new. Now, it is true that they don't offer that to anybody. Usually it's their best talents, but I saw somebody refuse that. And unfortunately, 3 months after, he was gone because, well, he should have said yes, unfortunately. So why do companies do that? Especially when they see a talent or talent in the making or a diamond in the rough, it's because they believe that that person will have the necessary, skills and motivation to go outside his current job, outside his current work plan, and outside his current, function. So for instance, when I was at P&G, I was in the headquarters, and we were doing business development from the headquarters, which it doesn't make any sense, because if you want to do a proper business development and plans, you need to go on the field. So what the company was doing is they would send every 3 months, they would send 2 people from the team to spend 1 week on the field, where the real business is happening, where the real pain is happening, and where the actual salespeople, we call the management people in the headquarters the sales leaders. I disagree with that. I think that a sales leader is the one who is in the shop, in the supermarket, in Carrefour or Tesco and all that, fighting with the first level buyer to promote, shampoo, diapers, etc. So us doing that, again, not our job, but our function in another country, and the amount of learning and experience that we got was huge. It was huge because we understood how difficult it was for a sales guy in the field to transmit our brilliant ideas, that we have in the headquarters, and promote them. So just by spending 1 week, which in the grand scheme of life and time is truly nothing, but by just spending 1 week, we were able to make everybody's life, at least at work and time, better, because we understood how we should communicate to him, how we should promote things, and we understood how the buyer in front of him, how our client was actually thinking, either of the business or thinking of us, thinking about us, and that led to fantastic results in terms of collaboration and obviously business results. Now, if I take this and I compare it to what I'm seeing in academia, I don't see enough of that, unfortunately. And I'm trying to get my head around it, because I think it should be, something part of planning of any institution. They should take their best faculty, and I know it's a lot of hard work. I'm sure it's a lot of hard work, but if an institution could, of 20 faculty members, if they could take, just 10%, 15%, 2 or 3 of their best faculty, and or maybe not best faculty, just, offer that to people who would like. Let's not discriminate, who's the best faculty, because you want to empower everybody. You need everybody on the team. Just imagine if a faculty would tell you, hey, listen, we have a collaboration and with the school in France, and they have summer courses. And because of that relationship, you can go there for 2 weeks or whatever your visa allows. 2 or 3 weeks, you can assist, you can attend the courses, and they actually offer you the possibility to teach for 3 or 4 hours. Now, just by me saying that, I feel chills, because I know how fantastic an opportunity that will be for any professional in academia, for a lecturer, for teachers, and the benefits, just for obviously for the teacher himself, him or herself, would be huge. And then in turn, I strongly believe that the school who sent the teacher, when that teacher comes back, the teacher will come with so much learning and so much experience and new ideas that you can then put that into developing, maybe either developing new courses or programs, or you can enhance and improve the current ones that you have, which means you become more interesting for your student base, and you can communicate that in your communication plan, in your marketing plan, in your advertising. You can make it part of your added value proposition, or I'm not going to say it's your unique selling proposition, because that would be too little. But if you can tell teachers and students and parents, our faculty every year in the summer or whenever, they go to other countries to develop themselves, to train themselves. And when they come back, you benefit from all that learning and all that experience. Just think about that. Wouldn't it be fantastic for you and for your institute? Unfortunately, I'm not seeing that, and not even in Switzerland, because of some false sense of, I will try not to be too aggressive on my statement, some false sense of, this is ours. We don't want our people to go and learn new things, or even worse, share ideas of what we're doing. Well, I think that's a very middle-aged, mentality. If you want to keep your people just in your institute, and you don't train them, and you don't offer them the chance to go, or to learn something new, I think you, on the long term, you will have some problems, either by the happiness of your faculty, the capacity and skills of your faculty, and certainly the quality of your programs. If you don't open your mind to that, if you're not willing to bring new elements, I think it's complicated. And this is what I tell a lot of schools in Switzerland. You know, open yourselves. Be inclusive, be diverse. Bring people from other countries, bring people from India, bring people from South Africa, Morocco, whatever the country. Don't be, and this is a very European thing. I have a feeling. Uh, a lot of those schools are a bit what's the term, snobbish. I think that's the term. They think that they are the best school, and because they have some two accreditations, and they charge $50,000 per year. Unfortunately, it's not how it works. You can. This is how empires have fallen. This is how great companies have fallen. And I can just give you one example. Everybody knows Kodak. Everybody knows Nokia. Now, what happened to those two? They were not open-minded. They thought they were the kings, for the last 100 years and the next 100 years. And what are they now? They don't exist anymore. So, as a school, I think it would be very, very interesting to. I know it's not easy. Nothing is easy when you want to make something interesting, and to learn, you have to make an effort. But if you can, when I say you, I'm not specifically talking about the Sunbeam Women's College, but in general, if academia could plan for that in their overall strategy, that let's train our people, let's develop our people, let's create relationships with other schools, so we can have program exchanges, ideas exchanges. And it's not only about India going to Europe. It's also having some European teachers coming to India. Obviously, it's a bilateral relationship, And imagine if you would bring 2-3 teachers, from Europe or the US or whatever, to India in the summer. I know you will be successful, and vice versa as well. Any school in Europe would highly benefit of a new point of view, somebody different coming from India and sharing ideas. This is how we do it. How do you do it? Oh, this is how you do it. Okay, maybe I can incorporate. And then it's just I really think that you have to meet with different people. Something I wanted to cover then on a personal level. You as human beings, and me as a human being, obviously, one thing that has tremendously helped me was to meet and be with people who are not like me. And by that, I don't mean Swiss with blue eyes. I mean they were probably older. They were not only men, and they were not necessarily from my village or even from Switzerland. And that was taught into me from a very young age, was to meet with people who have like remotely nothing to do with you, and just talk to them, and or even better, listen to them. And I still do it. I will not disclose my age, but but I am meeting regularly with a group of gentlemen who are reaching the age of retirement. And let's just say that there's between 20 and 25-year difference between me and them. It's obvious to me, and it should be to you, how much you can learn from people with more experience. Not necessarily older people. Some older people have nothing to say because, I don't know, they just live life without looking and without observing. But if you can find people, senior people, it can be your parents. I learned a lot from listening to my parents. Obviously, this is what you need to do. But meeting with people different, from either age, gender, location, education level. What I do very often when I go to the garage, when I need to put my car to repair, I actually ask the guy, can I watch you do the work? Because I just want to understand how you do it. So this whole mindset, it's a mindset actually. It's a mindset of being open-minded, being curious. The key word here is being curious, because there is no losing if you are being curious, and if you want to learn more, and especially for you. But then if you can help your school, your company, your basketball team, your family benefit from that open-mindedness, you will be fantastic, and you will be set for life, because that mindset never goes away. It never goes away. I see how beautiful it is when somebody comes to you with that mindset of wanting to learn. Like, hey, what are you doing in life? I do this. Okay, it's far away from what I do, but tell me about it. And when you start explaining to people what you do and how you do it, that's another level as well of personal gratification, because one, you feel important. It's a bit of vanity, but it's fine. And secondly, you are sharing something. And I don't know how many of you have kids. I have a 7-year-old daughter. And when I see the level of questions she has already at that age, she wants to understand everything. And sometimes I'm stuck, so I don't know what to say. So, we go on, this very old thing called the dictionary or encyclopedia, but we also use Google. We are not that far from technology in Switzerland. And just seeing her eyes open when she learns something is to me, it's fantastic. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm her father, but whenever I have the chance to speak to people, and it's just fantastic. So, open-mindedness, diversity, and inclusion, because now they usually link those two terms, is what you should be doing if you're not doing it today. And for an institution, I think it's even more important. And I'm not super aware of the Indian education market, but as in any country, I would assume that it is highly competitive, and there's a lot of institutes. And yes, there's a lot of people in India, but you still want to be the best. You still want to attract more students and the best students, because this is why we are in this fantastic sector. We want to teach and to train and to educate and to transfer knowledge to as many people as we can. So if I'm talking to the leaders of an institution, I would advise them, and rather encourage than advise. I'm not an advisor, but I would highly encourage them to think about how can we train, empower, and give more tools to our faculty to help them, progress, and give them. I said it already, but give them the tools to then, transmit that mindset to the students. And then if I'm talking to teachers, I would just tell them, you need to do, even if the institute is not prepared today to do that for you, you need to proactively go and seek that additional knowledge, those additional skills, however you want. Today we have Coursera. We have the what's the name, the MOOC. We have MOOC courses. So a lot of things you can learn are actually cheap, if not free. Coursera, I believe you can take any courses, or at least a lot of them, for free. Now, yes, if you want to have the paper with the logo of the school that actually, accredits that you have taken the class, then yes, you have to pay, maybe I think it's $50 or something. But there is no price big enough if the education is right. And one anecdote, obviously the quote is not from me. I've read it somewhere, but I used it to counter the arguments of a school, an institute that was telling me, yes, but what if I train and I equip my faculty and they become better and then they leave? I said, yes, that can happen, but imagine the opposite. If you don't teach them anything, you don't train them, and then they stay. You are stuck with the same level forever. So yes, people will evolve, people will leave. This is part of life. This is and I had my first manager at P&G would tell me, I am so happy when I see people getting promoted, obviously, and leaving my team, but when they leave the company and they go for a higher ranked job, I'm super happy. It means I've done my job properly. I have equipped them to go beyond themselves, to exit their comfort zone, and to find happiness, reward, and challenges elsewhere, basically. So if I had to summarize, I think everything that I said, because I think I'm reaching like 45 minutes if I'm looking at my watch, and I can see Dr. Nilanjana is keeping track of the time. She's looking at me through the computer. And Swiss people are supposed to be on time. I guess that's what you've heard in India as well, because we have watches. But I think in summary, diversity, because diversity is a big word. Everybody uses it. Oh, diversity, diversity. I would call it, the mindset of being open-minded, of welcoming anything that is different from you or your belief or your life. You will benefit from that because you will learn something new. You might like it or not, but you will learn something new, and then it will help you personally and professionally. And you will then transmit something new as well to your students. So I can only but encourage that behavior, that if it's a behavior change, try to change it. If you're already doing it, do it even more, do it better. And if we at Helvetia we can help, I would be more than happy to obviously help. Again, not selling my system, but it can help you to find the schools in Europe. There's a process. Otherwise, from let's call it a corporate level, if the administrators of Sunbeam Women's College would like to get in touch with schools in France or Switzerland, I would be very and extremely happy and honored to do that introduction. I just want to thank you again, everybody, for taking some time this morning and for inviting me. It's a true pleasure to be here, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniel, for your time. And now I would request our academic head, Dr. Manisha Singh, to kindly extend a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Nilanjana ma'am. Good afternoon and Jai Hind, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Daniel Weber, for this session and giving us diverse vision and perception of opportunity in education for collaborating with other part of the world. So thank you once again, Mr. Weber. And we are definitely looking forward for the things what you have told us. And definitely we are talking about our higher management for this day. So thank you once again. Over to Nilan.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Daniel, for taking your time out. I would like to say that I did ask him to reschedule, I guess, 15 minutes earlier. And we having 1 o'clock here, it was around about 9:30 at his place, but still he said that I could manage at any time you say me. So thanks a lot for your availability. We would love to have you once again amidst us soon.
Yes, with pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the session. Stay.